We're walking together from my house out to my craft room. Here it is. Welcome to my craft room. Hey friends, welcome back to Daily Sews and Stuff. Today is another one that's a little different. I'm introducing you to my craft room, and I am going to hold my phone so that I can kind of take you around and tour. So I'm sorry if it's a little shaky. Also, my glasses are still redneck rigged, just with wire now. The new ones are supposed to be here in a couple of days, so that's at least good. Can't wait for that. That's why they're sitting like this. There's nothing I can do to fix that. It's driving me crazy. Anyways, I am going to turn the camera around and take you on a tour, and I hope you enjoy seeing my craft room. So let's start the tour at the door. You walk in, and the door is hiding the mirror, the full-length mirror. It's the only full-length mirror in my house, but it's where it needs to be because if I'm sewing something, I want to try it on and see what I need to fix. I do have on Me Made Today. This shirt is a Patterns for Pirate favorite tee. This is the one I like. It is out of a Pylos and Liknit, not real sure how to say it, from Surge Fabric Shop. So I will post a link for that. I really love it. It's a stretch linen, and it's very comfortable and very cool. It's July in Texas, and I'm not dying of a heat stroke in this shirt, even though it's black. And then these are also Patterns for Pirates. These are loggers, shorts. I am fairly certain I just drafted the length myself, and they're out of a fun character print for Harry Potter, the Marauders map. That came from Joann's. And then just a coordinating black because I didn't have quite enough to get the pockets or the bands out of the main fabric. So, alright, so we've got the mirror, and above it, just a little bulletin board, doesn't have anything important on it. And this broom, which I have hung on the wall with this command strip little guy. Got that on Amazon. I will post a link for that. It's really helpful. There's my mount. Also came from Amazon. I'll post a link for that. And my projector came from eBay. I'll post a link for several similar if I can. Here we have a gray shelf that used to be a bookshelf, and my husband turned it into this wall shelf for me. It was designed to specifically hold a few items, but that's changed a little bit what it holds now. But it still works really well. It keeps those things right where I need them by my cutting table, and I have some decorations on top. And there's my crazy car mount that is still stuck to the ceiling and seems to work just fine for a cutting table camera. This is my cutting table. My husband built this. He is a carpenter. This is one of the first things that he built for me, and he would like you to know that he would do it much differently and much better now. But he is actually working on plans for a cutting table, and he will have those on with the Recreational Woodworker and Dailey Woodworks when he gets those completed. There'll be a YouTube video and stuff, I'm sure. I told him I want him to wait until we have room for a bigger cutting table so that he can build me a huge cutting table, and I would love it. It is on wheels. It was built specifically to my height because I am very short, and for a 24 by 36 mat to go on top. And then that bar right there is just how I pull it and maneuver it. And that basket right there used to hold a lot of utensils, but now we have 3 children, and so it's not safe for them to be there anymore. On this side, the pegboard used to hold all of my rulers and extra cutting implements, and again, that's not safe anymore with children. And these 3 cubbies at the bottom now hold things that are appropriate for my children to play with. That is their side of this cutting table. On the back of my cutting mat, I have a $12 piece of sheet metal duct taped so that it doesn't have any sharp corners anymore to the back of my mat, which makes my mat magnetic. And I have a second cutting board underneath. I'll take them both off and put them on the floor and get a really long cutting space. And then on this side, it's got 3 long, skinny drawers. My children have colored on it. It used to be much nicer than it is. But, children, I need to get a magic eraser to it. Anyway, this side has 3 long, skinny drawers. And then 3 more cubbies. And they have pattern making supplies and hot glue gun and things like that that I don't want the kids to touch. This top drawer has the stuff I cut for Bunny's blankie and various different paper crafting. I use them for pattern making and things too, but this is related to paper. This second drawer has some in progress type projects going on in it. UFOs, if you will. And this bottom drawer has some fabric for some, also sort of a UFO. I haven't even started it yet. And some old patterns that haven't been quite put together. A lot of rulers, measuring tape, that sort of thing. This is the door into my husband's shop.
Allow me this moment to interrupt myself to tell you that my husband is a carpenter by trade. I'll link his stuff below. And my dad is somebody who's done a lot of home remodeling and things like that. So the two of them together built this room into the garage and sort of cut it out of what my husband's shop is. And it is a 10 by 15 room, and they put shiplap on 3 walls at my request. That way I could hang anything anywhere I wanted to, which came in real handy when we were doing my projector. And then the back wall is drywall because we were going to fill it with a built-in, and then life happened and things changed. But my room is now totally functional, and it's really cool that I've been able to do what I wanted to do out here and make it work for me. Even though it's a pretty small space, I've got everything exactly where I want it and every inch of space used in a manner that makes sense to me.
And this is my husband's desk, which is also a treadle machine. It does have a sewing head in there. It is a 1591 clone. It had a motor on it. I took it off. I hooked it up to the treadle. It actually works and everything. It's awesome and it's fun and I use it sometimes. But it's also my husband's desk now, so not so much. There's a little stool right there and just some pretties. And then this came from IKEA, and I really love it. It's for the kitchen for like condiments and stuff, but it works great. It's got cutting rulers in here. My magnets are in here. Here, I've got lots of cutting and writing implements. Enough out of the kids' reach that they don't mess with it. Above, I've tucked some fabric up there, some really thick fabrics that didn't fit well anywhere else. It's our printer, which, hallelujah, I do not need as much anymore. Our microphone, which is already broken, and we have a return authorization to get that fixed, which is very frustrating. And just a lot of my husband's stuff. Over here, I haven't changed my labels yet because I have fairly recently redone this. But that drawer system right there has, the bottom 2 drawers have serger cones. The very bottom one has lots and lots of colors. The second from bottom has just neutrals in it except for white. And then the top 3 are UFOs. And then on top, those are 2 tackle boxes that have just regular sewing thread in them. Here's my big calyx, stacked calyxes IKEA unit. At the very top, here, let me turn that light off. It is backlit, obviously. And with the light off, you can probably see better. There's just some keepsake memento type things up there. That has some like hand stitching type things in it, such as cross stitch or paper piecing. That gray box has projector stuff in it for my projector that does not work for my for sewing. That red box has my white serger cones and pressing hams in it. And then I have all my quilting and other woven fabrics wrapped around comic book boards and mostly sorted by color here. And then mason jars and milk jars full of different sewing accoutrements and notions and all that sort of. This closed door hides my irons, mostly from my kids, and there is a plug back there. That's where the lights plug in and the irons plug in, and that whole wall, as you saw earlier, is connected to a switch by the door. So I can turn off the whole wall and know that anything plugged in over there is off, including the irons when I leave. It's also got spray bottles and stuff in there. And then these bottom guys hold, that black one has some computery officey stuff. The white one has scraps. The gray one has scraps. The red one has quilting batting. And then these 4 guys have various knit fabrics. This is a TV tray that I covered in batting, and I use it for pressing. And then this is a pressing board that I can either fit on top of there, I can fit on my cutting table, or I can put on my quilting frame and use that for pressing. And then there's some kid toys there. There's a daylight lamp that is sadly broken, and so I sort of rig it up to work whenever I need it. And here is my pattern storage, my old system when I still printed things. And I obviously don't print things anymore, but I didn't want to get rid of things that I had altered and that sort of thing. So there they are. There's 3 bolts of fabric that just fit there better than anywhere else. My wedding dress, some other keepsakey type things. This is, well, here, one more unit from IKEA that's got a lot of quilting stuff in it, and I need to buy some more of those baskets to put on it. I want a long one and another round one. Right here next to my quilting frame, which is a very old gray frame, but it works great. I put my Juki straight stitch on there and use it. I'll get it fired up for Bunny's blankie soon, I'm sure. But it's kind of backwards, that way I can use it as a counter space too. And so I crawl underneath there and go stand on the other side, which allows me to see my computer monitor whenever I'm following a tutorial, and it also allows me to use this as a shelf the way that it is. Well, it also allows me to use this as a counter the way that it is. That box is stuff I need to get rid of. That is some fabrics that have a plan for them. I just need to actually get it going, and just some storage underneath on either side. Under here too, you can see that is my heater. It's we bought it for a house in the past, and we didn't need it in this house, so it's just this little fireplace looking heater. And there is my air conditioner, which is what is so loud in all of my videos. And they plug in right there, and that is a dedicated plug only for those 2 things. And obviously they never run at the same time, so that keeps it from tripping any breakers. And there's a 220 plug right next to that, just in case we ever want to use a 220 heating or cooling units. There is my chalkboard where I keep track of some of the sews I have planned. That red shelf above has a lot of quilting supplies up there. Also some UFOs, some more keepsakey type stuff and fun stuff. My degree, my husband made that too, by the way. Over there, keepsakey thing from a past job. This red shelf has all of my manuals on it for my machines. You need to keep those. Don't throw those away. Those are important. Use those. And those 2 baskets have various things that I use. Just little things that I needed to tuck out of the way. And then lots of books on pattern making and quilt blocks and that sort of thing. And then some, what do you call that? Some software too. So this is my computer monitor. It is hooked up to my laptop. There is my mouse and keyboard. They are wireless, and I move them basically anywhere. That big old red string there is a plug for my phone. And here I have my serger, my cover stitch, my straight stitch, and my computerized machine. They are all Juki. I love them all. I don't love them all equally, but I will talk about my machines in my next video. Will show you though, behind my machines, I have another of these IKEA things. I'll put a link because I can't remember the name of it. And so I just have scissors and various things here that I use when I'm sewing that make it easy to quickly grab them. If you don't have a pair of hemostats in your sewing room, you should. I'll post a link. They're very helpful. They're like tweezers. But you can lock them closed. And so I find them very helpful when threading a lot of things, or when I need to hold something and keep it out of my way. There is my magnetic pin cushion and Wonder Clip cushion. If you can see there, I've got 3 plugs and 2 USB jacks. Here I've got 6 plugs, and it is enough for all my machines and all my electronics right here. One more IKEA unit with things for my cover stitch and for some like note-taking type things. My big window. The table my machines are sitting on is another thing my husband made. It is one of the very first things that he made, and it again was something he built specific to my request. However, neither one of us, because this was a very long time ago, thought about how the machines would sit up several inches taller than the table, and so I do wish I had asked for it a little bit shorter, or I had a taller chair, because I am very short, so that would be nice. But it is gorgeous, and I don't want to do anything to undo it, so we may use that inside for something else at some point and have a different sewing table. I also think an L-shaped table would be really helpful with all the machines I have now. And then under here I just have some storage. There's my trash can hiding another drawer unit, which has a lot of Cricut stuff and a lot of tape and paper and chalk and that sort of thing. My laptop sits on top of that. I have asked my husband to build me a replacement for this that would be wider and would be a little sturdier. And then here's my bank of light switches. I have, well, here, let's do this. That light has its own switch. That chandelier has its own switch. That light and that fan each have their own switch. That light has its own switch. And that whole back wall has its own switch. And I asked for that when my husband and dad were building this. Oh, and then the outside light has a switch, so that I could have full control over where my lights were and how much light I had going on whenever I needed it for something specific.
Interrupting myself once again to give a better explanation of this piece of art than I did the first time around. My cousin made this, and if you look closely in this next clip, you can see where it says "Love Ya." And my Aunt Sandy wrote that, "Love Ya," and my cousin copied it and used it in creating this art. What makes it so special is that my Aunt Sandy died a few years ago from cancer, and so having this keepsake that was created with her handwriting and the "Love Ya" is really special to me. And if you follow the link that I'll put in the description box below, there's an Etsy store that my cousins use to help fund a scholarship that is in my Aunt Sandy's honor. So if you would like to find some art like this and support a really great cause, you can definitely check that out.
And then some other keepsake type things, and we are back to the door. So thanks for coming along on my craft room tour. I'm so excited that you guys got to see where I film and sew and do all of my crafty type stuff. Tune in next week to learn about my machines, and then we will go back to projector sewing. I can't wait. See you guys later.
Thanks for watching my videos. Like, subscribe, and comment.